Brought to you by Subway. Planning a meeting, event, or office celebration? Visit subway.ky to place your catering order today.
And now, Radio Cayman presents The Business Buzz, an insightful and fresh take on a variety of issues that impact the local business environment. This is where we address the business topics that matter. Radio Cayman's Business Buzz. Here's your host, Anita Khan.
Good morning. It's 22 and a half after 8 o'clock. Welcome to the Business Buzz. Today's Thursday, July 14th, and we'd like to welcome our listeners and our viewers to the Business Buzz this morning. I want to say good morning to Silver Fox, who's holding it down in the next studio, along with Dr. Love. It's my new name for him. He's shadowing Paul this morning. The doctor is in the house as well. And we have two guests in the studio. We're continuing with our regular segment with the Royal Cayman Islands Police Service, RCIPS, which is on the buzz every second Thursday of the month. And no stranger to our studio, we have our guest, Ms. Jodianne Parry. She's Police Media Officer with the Media and Communications Unit, MCU, and introducing this morning to our audience, Police Sergeant Sarah Joy Bodden, who is a new sector sergeant with the West Bay District. Both PS Bodden and PC Parry will be discussing some issues they have been noticing surrounding weapons being brandished and used at nights in places where the public has access to, such as bars and clubs. Heavy topic this morning. Good morning, ladies.
Oh, thank you for having us.
Thank you. Good morning.
Welcome, Joy. It's your first time to the studio.
Yes, thank you.
I'm not going to be hard on you. I'll go easy. I'll take my time. But it's good to have you both in the studio this morning. PC Parry, how are you doing?
Oh, we're doing good. We're doing all right.
Just checking up on you.
Yeah, we're doing all right. Just have a little bit of concerns that we're going to be airing out today.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, PS Bodden, tell us a little bit about yourself and the role you play within the RCIPS.
Thank you, Anita. Good morning, everyone. Thank you for having PC
You're
Parry.
very welcome, and congratulations on your new position.
Thank you. Thank you for having PC Parry and me to your show this morning. Good morning to our listeners as well. I joined the service 8 years ago. I spent the first 4 years in frontline policing, and then the next 4 years with the Criminal Investigations Department as a detective. And now my current role is a sergeant for West Bay Community Policing Department. As a community police officer, our role is focused more on the proactive side of policing, and where we identify issues and its root causes that are affecting our community, and then find solutions, long-term solutions, and to address these issues. So we always strive to deliver professional service. So that's why we work with the community and for the community.
Okay. Now, are you stationed at the West Bay Police Station?
Yes, I am. And from time to time, I'm also invited to go to Georgetown, and where all the supervisors congregate. Because, like I said, I'm just recently promoted, and I'm learning my role.
Yes, ma'am. Sergeant in the house.
Thank you.
Now, explain to us what you're here to discuss and what you hope to achieve by sharing this information. Police Sergeant Bodden.
Okay.
Can I just call you Sarah?
Yes, please.
Okay.
Thank you. Yeah. So we're here to discuss about an uptick in violent crimes such as assaults, affrays, wounding, even murders or attempted murders. We are here to discuss about offensive weapons, restrictive weapons, and prohibited weapons, weapons brought to the public places, including liquor license premises, and the consequences of these offenses, and other ways that the public is affected, such as loud music and theft from vehicles, and of course, the weekend road safety. So this morning, we hope to use this venue to educate the public.
Well, I'm glad you're here. Now, getting right into it, what kinds of trends have the police been noticing recently? I mean, we see as the public, we see the trend. But let's hear from the police.
Well, Ms. Anita, if you have, for instance, our CIPS app, you would see our press releases that have been coming out, and a lot of them have been surrounding assault incidents. A lot of these assault incidents have been incidents that took place in public places, and not necessarily or specifically that it happened inside a liquor license premises, but it may have happened outside in the parking lot or nearby when people are walking to their cars or whatever the case may be. So we just want to reiterate the point that carrying any kind of weapon is an offense. Whether or not you've used the weapon or not, it is an offense, especially at night. And the law speaks specifically to nighttime as well. Because, for instance, you have restricted weapons. Restricted weapons are weapons that, when used for the purpose that they're intended, are not necessarily illegal. Mm-hmm. But when you use it outside of their context, something, for instance, like a machete that's a tool, in the daytime for a landscaper, if you carry it in your vehicle at night, it's an offense.
Really?
It is.
Okay. Didn't know that.
It is.
So a landscaper is supposed to, if he's going to the club, he's supposed to empty his
vehicle. Yes. Okay. Mm-hmm. Because you are not using that machete for the intended purpose, and having it is carrying a restricted weapon at night.
Is this information that is known to the public?
Well, it is within the law, and the laws are public. And it's one of the reasons why we're here today, and we're here so regularly with you, is to highlight some of the things that we see and try to educate the public on things that they need to know. But the laws are definitely public on legislation.ky. And this is in the penal code between section 78 and 81.
Okay, so you have restricted weapons. What are the other types?
So there are restricted weapons that I can go in a little bit more on that. So knives, machetes, sports bats of any type. So cricket bats, softball bats, baseball bats, those kinds of things. Especially if you bring them to a club, it is definitely an offense. Why
would I walk in the club with my
you wouldn't walk in there.
Bat.
You wouldn't walk in there with it, but you may leave it in your car in the event that something happens. Yeah, okay. And that in itself is an offense. Okay. Yeah.
All right. So that's your the rest of the restricted weapons.
Yeah.
So what are some of your offensive weapons?
So offensive weapons, to be honest, can be anything. So an offensive weapon is anything made or adapted for the use of causing injury. So, for instance, if you are at a bar or a club or an event and you have a glass bottle in your hand that you used to hit somebody, that bottle then became an offensive weapon. So anything whatsoever that you have, as long as your intention was to cause harm with it, it becomes an offensive weapon. And that's an offense.
So are nightclubs and bars serving their patrons with plastic?
No, and we don't expect them to. What we do expect is that patrons be responsible patrons to bars and nightclubs. Everybody has a responsibility to make sure that they take accountability for their actions. Okay. Nobody wants anybody to go into somebody's business premises that they've invested their money and time and energy in to ruin it. Yeah. Okay,
so we've covered restricted weapons, offensive weapons. What are the other types of weapons?
And the next one is prohibited weapons. And prohibited weapons are basically items that are absolutely illegal, whether it is day or night, because their intended purpose and the reason they were made was to cause injury or fatal wounds. So those would be like flick knives, gravity knives, butterfly knives, what are those called? Knuckle dusters?
Yes, knuckle dusters.
And firearms, especially. And yes, we have seen.
I mean, this is not a question for you, but it's sort of rhetorical. Why make these weapons if they're going to be used to cause harm?
To cause harm. That's why they're made.
You were supposed to answer this, Julia.
That's why they're made, Miss Anita. But that's why they are also prohibited in the Cayman Islands. Yeah, they are absolutely illegal items. They're illegal to be imported, and they're illegal to have possession of while they're here.
Okay, so are these offenses taking place mostly inside of these
no
venues?
Sometimes they do, but oftentimes what happens, I think, and Sarah, you can correct me if I'm wrong, is that persons would do something like stash weapons nearby outside so that they have easy access to them, or they would hand them off to somebody to hold for them outside, or somebody who they wouldn't think would be searched the way that they would be searched or as thoroughly. So maybe like hand it off to a lady friend who would put it in a very inconspicuous place between her breasts or something.
Okay.
Something like that, so that they would have access to it. And other ways as well. So it's not necessarily that it's always happening inside. I think that majority of the incidents that we've seen recently have taken place in parking lots. Yeah. Especially the very serious ones have taken place in parking lots. Once person's...
Julian, we've got to take a break.
Yeah.
I've got a look from Silver Fox. Thanks, though. Thanks for joining us on the Business Buzz this morning. Thanks to our sponsor, Cayman Insurance Center. When we come back, we'll continue a discussion with Police Sergeant Sarah Joy Bodden and PC Julianne Powery.
I'm Michael Webster.
And I'm Denise Brown of Cayman Insurance Center.
Family is not the most important thing, it's everything.
And for 45 years, we have worked with the community and their families on protecting themselves for the future.
Whether it's providing top-rated life insurance
or protecting your family's household investment.
From our family to yours, we understand and we care.
I'm Denise Brown. Call me at 814-7229.
And I'm Michael Webster at 925-5433.
We are Cayman Insurance Center,
specializing in property, life, and other lines of insurance products and services at an affordable rate. We are Michael and
Denise at Cayman Insurance Center.
Call today.
Since 1993, Rotary Central has worked diligently each year to provide quality bus shelters to our community. A traveling convenience to our school children, the elderly, young people going to work, guest workers, and visitors using the public bus. We, Rotary Central, help you, our advertisers, make it happen. Your marketing dollar travels a far way. Positioning your message, your product, your services, your presence in over 83 bus shelters. Every dollar you spend, every advert you place helps to build another bus shelter, providing modest comfort for Cayman travelers. Reserve space now on the only billboard medium in the Cayman Islands. Email rotaryshelters@gmail.com. rotaryshelters@gmail.com. The Bus Shelters, a partner in community convenience. Another inspiration program by Rotary Central Cayman Islands.
Cybercrime happens online or through the technology we use every day. Anyone can be a victim of cybercrime, whether you are a young person being bullied or harassed online, or an older person or business who's been scammed out of money or personal data. Cybercrime is an issue that touches all of us. The Cayman Islands government has therefore created an online resource to help keep you cyber safe in an ever-changing world.
In online situations, it is better to be cyber safe than sorry. Learn now to protect yourself against cybercrime. Visit gov.ky/cybersafe.
Commission for Standards in Public Life reminds all persons subject to the Standards in Public Life Act that declarations are due by 30th of July. If you're struggling to complete your annual declarations of interest, the Commission for Standards in Public Life has a new tutorial video available to provide further guidance. Visit Standards in Public Life Commission.ky/register of interest to view the tutorial video today.
Welcome back to the Business Buzz. Thank you so much for joining us on this beautiful Thursday morning. Is it Thursday morning?
It is a Thursday.
I'm just joking. And my day off is on Wednesday.
Friday,
so whenever,
Junior.
whenever I come back into work on Thursday, it's like, is it Monday or Tuesday? No, I'm just kidding. It's a beautiful Thursday on the outside. Our guests in the studio are Jody Ann Powry. She's a police media officer. And Sarah Joy Barden. She's a police sergeant with Community Policing Unit in the District of West Bay. It's good to have ladies in the studio. I think women police officers take a different outlook on policing, I think, than...
Probably. I think that we carry a little bit more compassion to the job. So, for instance, that's why you would find that the family support unit is dominated by women, because we carry a level of compassion that is needed for that type of job. So, yeah.
Okay, I just segue into that somehow. What kind of incidents result from taking weapons to nighttime events and public gatherings?
Yeah, so often violent crimes such as affrays, assaults, wounding, GBH, just grievous bodily harm, which is serious assaults, and robberies, attempted murders, and even murders, and other crimes such as threatening violence, threats to kill, and possession of these items are a crime on its own. So,
yeah. I think maybe an affray is something that maybe the public is not particularly abreast on. An affray is basically an incident that causes fear because
Sorry,
it's...
Can you repeat that? Affray?
An affray. AFFRAY.
Okay.
And what it is basically like a scuffle in the public. And it can be either serious or not, but it usually takes place in the space of a public where people have access to it and people are onlookers. And it causes a level of fear or discomfort to the public. So that's why it's called an affray. So like bar fights are affrays. Yeah.
Now I know.
Yeah.
No, you have things like attempted murders, robberies. You have other crimes such as threatening violence. You have domestic violence, threats to kill, and possession of these items are a crime of its own. Can you talk a little bit further on that?
Okay. So when we say that possession of these items are a crime on its own, it means that carrying an offensive weapon, carrying a restricted weapon, or carrying a prohibited weapon is a crime by itself. When you use these weapons that you're carrying to commit another offense, then that is kind of like an add-on offense. So if you use these weapons to commit a wounding, or a minor assault even, then it means that you've committed two offenses because you've already on its own committed the carrying of the offensive or restricted weapon, and then you've also committed an assault or a robbery.
If you're charged with these offenses, then likely you are going to serve double time for this.
That's depending on that's depending on the court's outlook and what happens at the court. But Sarah will tell you a little bit more about the consequences of just having the weapons by itself.
Okay. Yeah, so we have the penal code according to Section 2022 revision. Sections 78, 79, and 80 describes each offense in details along with the penalties, specifically the offensive weapons that we have spoken about, restricted weapons and the prohibited weapons. Anyone who commits the offense or any of these offenses or possession of restricted weapon or offensive weapon is liable on conviction to a fine of $5,000 and imprisonment for 4 years.
And that's it's not or. So you'll be fined, and you'll also receive a custodial sentence.
Okay. Now, how is the community being affected by all of this?
Well, these violations and crimes disrupt order. We know that. So, other than the assaults and other incidents, there also have been reports that have been reporting in relation to loud music in the nearby communities, and where the events are taking place, and it has become a nuisance.
Yeah. What we're asking, because obviously promoters or event coordinators would have gotten their approvals and their permits and all these kinds of things. But what we're asking is that everyone also considers the quality of life for the public and the community, and take those things into consideration as well. So where it relates to loud music, we're just asking that you consider maybe the placement of your speakers, the decibel level of the sound, so that the surrounding communities at these events aren't affected negatively by it.
Yeah, we need to be considerate when playing music, whether approved events or in our homes. What is music to one may not be music to another. We have to think about our elderlies. We have to think about the sick, our children, our babies, our working class who needs to take rest as well.
Yes.
Okay. No, I'm sitting here listening to you ladies, and I'm thinking, I've noticed that most of the fights and are they affray?
Afraid.
The affrays are taking place after the club has been closed.
Yes.
Correct?
Yes.
Now, how is the police presence more available at these times after hours?
We try, but we have a lot of bars and clubs and events that take place throughout the Cayman Islands. I know a lot of these bars and clubs and these events, they are very good at making sure that they have adequate security. But that is one of the measures that we want everyone to also consider, to make sure that you have adequate security at your events to protect your participants. Because, a lot of times this isn't like a one-off thing, and you want to make sure that your event goes so smoothly that no one that patronized your event was harmed in any way. So, for instance, if it is that you have considered placing security at the gates, maybe also consider placing a security in the parking lot, or a security that roams, so that, in the event that parking isn't accessible nearby, someone parked far down in a dark area or whatever the case may be, their vehicle isn't broken into, because you have security roaming the area. Something like that. But the community policing department, they provide workshops, crime prevention workshops, and they do that with business owners. They do that with communities, and they also may even be open to doing that with promoters who want to have their input in how to go about doing their events properly.
Yes, we have our officers in every beat area, so I encourage everybody or any business owner to reach out to us as well if they want us to do those workshops. And also, I would like to say that you mentioned earlier, Miss Anita, that these incidents happen in parking lots. This is also the time that we actually need every member of the community to help us, because we need to work together in order for us to have a safer community.
Agreed.
Yes.
Agreed. So how can the community help? Say Jodianne, you and I we frequent a nightclub, and nightclub is over, closing time, we're outside. And people tend to gather outside and just hang out because it's early. I mean, come on. The rest of the world, we're shutting down at 3 in the morning and 4 in the morning before we go home, right? But at, say, Saturday night, we finish at what? 12.
Yeah.
Nobody sleeps at 12. Nobody want to go home at 12. No, seriously.
No.
So you'll have people gathering in these parking lots.
Yeah.
So most people, of course, had maybe too much to drink, and what can happen? An argument, a silly argument.
And a fray.
An affray can occur.
Yes.
After that silly argument.
So there are several things. First of all, I want to say, as it relates to, earlier on the break, we were talking about barriers between the police and the community. And some of the barriers that we have is basically a lack of trust. And I'm never one to say that we're not at fault at anything. If we're at fault, we're at fault, and we take responsibility for that. But that's the reason why we have our community policing department now. And we have our community safety officers, because we're trying to rebuild those barriers, and we're trying to build on the public confidence in the police, or at least even a fraction of our police officers within our community policing department, or our community safety officers who are members of the communities that they work in. So some of the things that the public can do is, if somebody asks you to hold a weapon, say no.
Just say no.
Just say no. And if everybody says no, that person doesn't have anywhere to put their weapon.
That's right.
And if you're a family member and that person asks you, can you
hold my bat?
Hold my machete.
No.
Say no, but also say, because you're a family member of that person, that's wrong. And hold them accountable for it.
Or just take it from them and give it away, or just bury it. Throw it in the ocean. On that note, we're going to take a break.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for joining us this morning. This is the Business Buzz.
I'm Michael Webster.
And I'm Denise Brown of Cayman Insurance Center.
Family is not the most important thing, it's everything.
And for 45 years, we have worked with the community and their families on protecting themselves for the future.
Whether it's providing top-rated life insurance
or protecting your family's household investment.
From our family to yours, we understand and we care.
I'm Denise Brown. Call me at 814-7229.
And I'm Michael Webster at 925-5433.
We are Cayman Insurance Center,
specializing in property, life, and other lines of insurance products and services at an affordable rate. We are Michael and
Denise at Cayman Insurance Center.
Call today.
Unleash the leadership potential of employees and managers through the globally acclaimed Ken Blanchard series, now offered at the Chamber of Commerce Training Center. Designed for new and experienced managers, the Ken Blanchard series will give new leaders the fundamentals of management, and experienced leaders will learn new best techniques to lead and support staff. Make the Chamber Training Center a partner in your business success. Call the Chamber today at 949-8090 or visit caymanchamber.ky for further information.
At Kirk's Home Center, we can make your life much better. We got it all together. We got a great deal in store for you. From cookware to stereos, from power tools to plumbing supplies. Yeah, we got the best goods with the best price, and a service to make you smile. Kirk's Home Center, we got a great deal in store for you.
As the community continues to take precautions from COVID-19, it is important to stay prepared for other disasters now that we're in the hurricane season. Here are some post-hurricane safety tips from the Department of Environmental Health. Always separate debris from household garbage after a hurricane. Debris includes roofing materials, tree branches, and metals. All items of debris must be placed in separate piles and must not cause obstruction to roadways or come in contact with electrical lines. For full guidance on post-hurricane safety tips, visit www.deh.gov.ky.
Business Buzz. Business Buzz with your host, Anita Khan.
Welcome back to the Business Buzz. We have in the studio this morning from the Royal Cayman Islands Police Service, Police Sergeant Sarah Joy Bodden. She's a new Sector Sergeant with the West Bay District. And of course we have no stranger to our studio, Ms. Jody Ann Powery, Police Media Officer, Royal Cayman Islands Police Service as well. Now, let's put the focus on Ms. P.S. Bodden this morning. Sarah, as I'll call you. Sarah, tell us about you, since you've started in this position, how it's going for you and for the community.
Well, it has actually really been going great for me. I've been reaching out to the community, speaking to residents. Speaking to residents, business owners, and we do hold community meetings and hear their concerns and find solutions, help them find solutions in relation to their problems. And we also work together collaboratively in order to have a safe community.
Okay. Now, how many other officers are within the community police service?
So we have 14
For West Bay.
beats.
Let's do West Bay.
Okay. So West Bay.
Well, with the community policing department, I actually have 3 constables with me and 2 community safety officers.
Okay.
And we also have shift officers. So we work together.
Yeah, so there are 3 beats in West Bay.
West Bay.
Beat 10, 11, and 12. Beat 10 is kind of like the far side of West Bay Road going into, I think, like Badabanu Road.
Okay.
And then beat 11 is on the Bosun Bay side. And beat 12 is the like Captain Reginald Parsons side of West Bay.
Okay, so if I'm a resident of Badabanu, and I have a problem, can I reach out to Police Sergeant Bodden directly?
Of course you can. And you can also work with our community safety officers.
Okay.
These officers are tasked to speak directly to people in the community. And my community police officers as well, the constables, we normally do not respond to the calls for service because we focus on the community itself.
Yeah, so if you call the West Bay Police Station 949-3999, you can just ask to speak with any community police officer, or you can ask specifically to speak with Miss Sarah Joy Bodden.
Yes, and also we actually have the community neighborhood watches that we launched. We try to have every community set up. What we do with that is that it's a WhatsApp group that the community agree, specific like beat 11 or beat 12 and 13. They set up a WhatsApp group where they raise their concerns, and we, the police officers, are actually members of it as well. So we monitor it. So if you do not want to make a report directly to the police station, you can raise your concern there, and we can read it, and we'll reach out to you.
Okay, sounds good.
Yeah.
And that basically works for every district, right, Jodianne?
Yes, every district.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, Jodianne, you have other concerns, I'm sure, like road safety,
Absolutely.
DUI, speeding, distracted driving.
Yeah, and we're coming up on time, right?
Yeah, but we can do a little bit of coverage here.
Yeah. So obviously it's a weekend. The weekend is approaching. It's summer, and with summer comes a lot of events. So I just want to reiterate, I mean, we've already exceeded the amount of road fatalities for the year this year already versus last year. So I just want to make sure that everybody is on their P's and Q's when they're on the road. Specifically, I want to encourage everyone not to drink and drive. Make a plan when you're going out, and make sure that in those plans when you're going out, you cover things like who you're going with. I wouldn't encourage anyone to go out by themselves. You need somebody out with you to watch your back and you watch theirs. You know, how you're going to get there and how you're going to get home. Make sure that those 3 things are covered, especially the one about how you're going to get home, because if you plan on going out to drink, then you shouldn't plan to drive home. You should be planning to find a taxi on the Flex app, or, you know, calling, what is it, 777-777?
Not a clue.
A taxi.
Taxi?
That's a taxi service. Or, you know, if you're going out with a group, then designate somebody who is not going to be drinking that night.
No, I have a quick question for you. It's summer, so you have a lot of children on the streets riding their bikes.
Yes.
And they're doing wheelies.
Oh.
Without helmets.
Oh, no.
Yes.
Yeah.
Does the police have any sort of training workshop for where the parents can bring them to teach them how to do ride safely?
You know, we don't have that going on right now, but what we do have is throughout the year we are invited to the various schools. And our community officers attend, and they do career fairs and that kind of stuff. But they also speak to the students at the schools on, you know, safety things that affect them specifically. So, like, for instance, if they're playing in their yard and they accidentally kick the ball outside on the roadway, how to deal with that situation. But that is something that we could consider for next summer, Miss Anita. Thank you very much for that.
Yeah, well, actually, There are actually a lot of career-themed summer camps this summer, which are scheduled different days throughout Cayman, and the police are actually invited in it. And we intend to speak because the ages of the children are around like 8 to 16 years old. So this is a good avenue to actually educate them in relation to that specific concern, Miss Anita.
Okay. Because, I mean, sometimes I'm driving and they're right in front of me doing a wheelie.
Yeah.
And I cringe. I can't look. I cannot look. They're not wearing helmets. They're riding, even if they're not wheeling, you know. And I see adults doing it on their bikes as well. Are they, can the police do something about that? Like,
I think
to stop them doing that?
Well, as a community, if we something that's going on, call us.
Yeah.
We'll dispatch police officers.
Yeah.
We'll go and we will respond and
By
we'll
the time I
see.
call you, he's gone because he's riding faster than I'm
you
going.
know, but if you take a proper description and give us a general area that the person is in, chances are, you know, we'll do some patrols and we may buck up on them on another street or something like that on our patrols, and then we'll have that conversation with them. Okay. Generally speaking, if you are a cyclist, you should know that you're riding with the traffic and you should be riding safely. So in the event that an incident happens, if you're not doing those things, then you could be liable for an offense of being negligent, reckless and negligent act on the road. So, yeah.
Anything ladies would like to leave with our listeners and our viewers this morning?
Oh, okay. Yeah, well, as the community police sergeant, I encourage everyone to continue working hand in hand with us in building a secure and happy environment so that we can all live and raise our children where, you know, businesses can flourish and every member play a significant role, proactive role in maintaining a harmonious and wholesome community.
Okay. Julian?
Well, I just want to, first of all, say, you know, we're strongly discouraging... We're strongly discouraging, you know, persons from taking weapons to bars, clubs, nighttime events, any public events, or whatever the case may be. If you decide to take a weapon with you to one of these events, it means that you have already decided that there is a purpose to bring it. So please, I'm asking you not to bring those things out, and if nobody brings it, then we don't have any incidents. So we're discouraging you from all of that. And I also just want to encourage everyone to be safe on the road. Please don't speed. Please don't drive distracted. Put the cell phones away when you're driving, especially at nighttime. And do not drink and drive.
And on that note, we're going to say thank you to both PC Jodianne Powery, Police Media Officer in the Media and Communications Unit of the RCIPS, and Police Sergeant, newly promoted, Police Sergeant Sarah Joy Borden.
Congratulations, Sarah.
Congratulations. Yay, Women Rock.
Yes.
And she's the new Sector Sergeant for Community Policing in the West Bay District. Thank you both. And our next date for the Business Buzz will be, it's the next, I can't remember.
It's the 11th of August.
11th of August?
Yeah.
August already?
Yes.
Wow. Okay. Oh, wow. I'm behind.
Christmas is just around the corner.
That's right. 11th of August. As we continue with our regular monthly series, which obviously takes place every second Thursday of the month. But please feel free to join us again on Tuesday for another Business Buzz. Thanks to our sponsor, Cayman Insurance Center, to all our listeners, viewers, and of course, our producer of the Business Buzz, Miss Susan Watson. She's taking some R&R. And in the studio, Silver Fox holding it down, and the doctor. Please stay safe. Have a wonderful day. From me, your host, Anita Khan. Goodbye.
The Business Buzz is proudly sponsored by Cayman Medical Supplies. Call them at 949-6211. And Cayman Insurance Center, celebrating 45 years in the Cayman Islands, specializing in property, life, and other